What's going on, everybody? You're listening to the Baseball Goombas. Today is March 18th, 2018. This is our second podcast. We're getting closer to opening day here. A lot of players are getting cut, really narrowing down on those final 25. Managers are getting ready. I bet you Aaron Boone wishes spring training was a little bit longer, though, to work on the finer things.
So let me just, I want to explain Mr. Aaron Boone here. I know it's just spring training. Chris Goomba here, by the way. I know it's just spring training, but get this. Batangas in the spring training game last week was pitched the fourth inning. And Adam Warren was supposed to relieve him and pitch the fifth inning. So Yes decided to do an interview with Aaron Boone with the headset and all, a la Joe Girardi. And as the Yankees were warming up, throwing the baseball around the diamond, there was no pitcher on the mound. So zero pitcher. The ump was like, "What's going on, guys?" And Boone never signaled Adam Warren to come in. So Warren was just chilling out in the bullpen with no pitcher. So Batanzas had to come running back out of the clubhouse with his jersey half on, half off, because he was about to take a shower because he was done pitching and he thought Adam Warren was pitching. John, thoughts on that, please?
I think Aaron Boone, he's a risk to begin with the Yankees. He doesn't have really any coaching experience, let alone managerial experience. I don't think I've ever seen that before, where a manager was too busy doing an interview to let his team know what's going on. I feel like he's definitely got to pay a little more attention and focus on his team.
It's spring training, but again, Aaron Boone never had managerial experience before.
Can't be doing this in the regular season is what it comes down to.
In a tight game in the regular season, people don't know how he's going to react. So, against Boston, they're not going to be a pitcher on the mound. And he was quoted as saying, I quote, "That was pretty aberrational, if that's a word." Boone. I don't know what that means.
His quotes are something.
I don't know what that means. Aberrational, if that's a word. Aberrational is a word, I think. But how about lack of awareness? It's a lack of awareness part on me. That's what you need to say.
So what up to
So pay attention, please.
Yeah. All right. So the main topic we want to talk about today in today's podcast is basically, who's gonna fill the starting 9 spots or starting 8 spots for the Mets in the lineup. Really, for the Mets, the holes are catcher and center field. Yankees have a different situation with really just all around the infield besides shortstop. But going right to the Mets, whether Kevin Plawecki or Travis d'Arnaud should start, or if there should be a platoon. I myself am in favor of giving Kevin Plawecki a shot.
I agree with you, John.
Thank you. Plawecki, I like what I've seen. I like his swing, what I've seen early in spring training. Him and Travis have really had equal spring trainings. Plawecki, in the 12 games he's played, he's hitting .333 with a .419 on base. Travis d'Arnaud is hitting .296 with a .441. But I really like Plawecki. He's a line drive hitter. He's got a short, compact swing. There's no getting around his first 2 seasons as a Met. He was pretty terrible. And he was up and down to a point where the Mets like Anthony Recker and other guys more than they like bringing up one of their potential top prospect Plawecki's. He hit .219 in 2015, and he did even worse in 16. He hit .197. There was a time when we were all excited as Met fans. Plawecki, Travis d'Arnaud. We have 2 potentially top catchers in baseball. Who were we going to start? And little do we know that both were going to be struggling big time.
Plawecki, 27 games, right, since his call-up last year. 303,
Yep.
3 home runs, 9 ribbies.
Yep.
That's a pretty decent stat line right there in almost 30 full games.
So the end of last year, Plawecki finished the season strong. He hit .364 in August and .278 in September. But unfortunately, d'Arnaud finished strong too and really brought the competition back again. He hit .343 in September.
But d'Arnaud shows 1 to 2 week glimpses where he's a legit catcher, and then he either gets hurt or fades.
Yeah, I agree.
Aren't you tired of that?
I am tired of d'Arnaud.
While improving while Plawecki has continued offensive production.
Yeah,
improving.
So Travis Renaud does a lot of things I'm getting a little tired of. He's a career 245. 2013, forget it. He was an August call-up. But if you look at his first 4 full seasons in the majors, 14 to 17, he's never cracked more than 112 games. And in 15 it was 67 games. 16 it was 75 games. So the injuries are definitely an issue. What I will say is that he gets a lot of gripe about his inability to throw base stealers out. He's only throwing out 22% of the base runners. Plawecki, on the other hand, 23. So you can't really use that argument. I would still like to see Plawecki get more of a full-time role because I feel like he can do better at throwing runners out, or at least keeping them closer to first. But what I did see that I really liked in Plawecki is we are continuing to harp this starting rotation, and the only thing I feel like d'Arnaud gives you more than Plawecki is maybe some power. Maybe he'll get you 5 to 10 more home runs than Plawecki, which this lineup does not. It doesn't warrant putting in a worse defensive catcher. When you have a lineup of Bruce, Cespedes, soon to be Conforto, I'm missing Frazier. You have potentially 4 30 home run guys. You don't need Travis's 15. It's not something you really need in the lineup versus defense to help out your ace staff.
How about d'Arnaud calling a game as opposed to Plawecki? Darno's been around the team, longer. He's been catching Noah. He's been catching DeGrom. How do you feel d'Arnaud stacks up against Plawecki and already knowing the pitchers already? Whereas I'm sure Plawecki knows as well, but as far as in game, d'Arnaud is more familiar with these guys.
I think he is more familiar just because he's been around. He's been the starting catcher for the past 4 years. But I feel like giving Plawecki a chance for the first month, he'll definitely, start working well with these guys. One of the numbers I really liked is basically the way they're keeping the ball. He's keeping the ball in front. Just looking at pass balls and wild pitches. In 144 games, he's allowed 5 passed balls. So that's 1 every 29 games. d'Arnaud, on the other hand, in 365 games, 22 pass balls. That's 1 in every 16 games. So half the amount of games he's letting a ball by that should have been blocked. That's on the catcher.
You don't want that to happen with a runner on third, do you?
You don't, and it's not just the throwing runners out. It's also keeping the ball in front and having the pitcher having confidence in you to help them out. And you might think that this is based on Plawecki's coming in late. You can't really look at just games. So of the 144, 128 were started. So it definitely shows that Plawecki is defending the ball well. And even wild pitches, I know this is on the pitcher, but it's nice to know that your catcher can save you potentially in diving in front of the ball to knock it down. So again, in the 144 games, there was 35 wild pitches, 1 out of every 4 games. d'Arnaud, on the other hand, 119 wild pitches, 1 out of every 3 games. So he's, again, wild pitches, same exact number. Really, Plawecki's just doing better defensively, and I feel like he would definitely keep those runners closer to first base.
I agree with you. I mean, I think Plawecki deserves a little more of a full-time role over d'Arnaud. Like I said, I'm as a Yankee fan, and I'm not really too keen on the Mets. And I'm getting a little tired of d'Arnaud.
We all are.
It's just
his at-bats are tough to watch.
He'll 300 batting average for a week. He'll pop a couple home runs. He'll throw maybe a base stealer out, and they're hurrahing. The Mets fans are hurrahing. And Travis is back.
We've been waiting a long time to see the potential of Travis d'Arnaud. I think 4 years was enough.
It's starting to fade. It is. To me, it's starting to fade, and I don't think they're going to start to phase d'Arnaud out. I think it's going to be ultimately, again, I think Plawecki needs more of a full-time role, but I think ultimately at the end what Callaway and company are going to do is split reps ultimately evenly.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Plawecki career versus right-handed, OPS career versus right-hander 628 as opposed to Travis, which is higher at 704. So I don't think they're going to do one more than the other.
No, I agree. It sounds like the more I look into it, it looks like they're going to split. I would just like to see Plawecki get more of that time. Because, again, I feel like with this lineup and the power it has, you don't need Travis D'Arnaud's power. The guy's still he's a career average under 250, so it's not like he's bringing a lot of hits to the table. It's just maybe he'll knock one out, and I'd rather just see Plawecki get his chance. Center field, on the other hand, it's between Nimmo and Lagares, and it really looks like Nimmo is just running away with this one.
He's having a hell of a spring.
Yeah, Nimmo this spring hitting 286 with a 367 on base percentage, which I love how his on base percentage continues to be roughly 100 points higher than his average throughout his whole career. Lagares, on the other hand, coming into spring, he got jacked. He did a lot of lifting. He came in with a new body, injured, and then he's hitting 188. So, and his on base is 257. So it's 100 points less than Nimmo going into spring training. So like I said, it really feels like he's running away with it. Nimmo for his career, 264 average and a 367 on base. That's what I would like to see. He may not be hitting for that great of an average, but to have your on base 100 points higher than your average is really good.
So that Nimmo being, I think, a better leadoff hitter.
I agree. He not only fulfills center field, but he fulfills the leadoff hitter role, which I don't think Lagares would fill well.
Nimmo has a good eye, and
does.
His on base percentage, I think, if given chances, he can be a nice trendsetter up top.
Absolutely, with a little pop too.
I think Lagares is kind of similar to me, D'Arnaud. He's had high expectations. He's an excellent defender, former Gold Glove winner.
Yep.
But then he gets hurt. He'll show, he'll make one diving catch, a nice willy, and
it hurts his thumb.
Right.
It's true. He's constantly hurting himself in the field too. But again, going back to Nimmo's eye, what I saw was that really impressed me. So last year, everybody praises Joey Votto's at bats. He takes great at bats. He never really chases anything out.
Great player.
Last year, Votto led Major League Baseball with chasing pitches out of the strike zone and only swung at 15.8% of pitches out of the zone. Now that's out of over 700 plate appearances. Nimmo had a smaller dose at 215 plate appearances, and he swung out of the zone 6.7% of the time.
Interesting.
This guy's got an amazing. It's very underrated how amazing this guy's eye is. So he's not gonna chase. He's gonna give you quality leadoff at bats, which in turn will help your number 2 and 3 hitters see more pitches from the on deck circle.
I agree with you. I'm all for Nimmo as well. I want to bring up what I don't quite understand is trading Lagares.
Yep.
I don't believe that's a correct decision that needs to be made. They're already thin in the outfield rotation with Nimmo, Conforto, who's not healthy.
He's not back yet.
You got Bruce back, and you got Lagares, and then you got Cespedes, who's dealing with some wrist problems.
That's basically it. Yeah.
Then who else do you have in the mind? Dendecker, please.
So that's the thing. So your next real outfield option would be Matt Dendecker, who we got rid of in the first place until he bounced back. But when you look at the trading block, I don't even think Lagares is going to be going anywhere.
I don't think so either.
When you look, he's making $6.5 million this year, and you think you're going to trade Juan Lagares in a market that just signed Mike Moustakas for $5.5 million. It's just not going to happen. Nobody's going to pay him that amount of money.
I think in dealing Lagares, the cons outweigh the positives at the moment.
It's like you said, like your next option would be Matt Dendecker, and
he's not
an option. He's
a minor leaguer.
He's a triple A baseball player, and this is why, like yesterday, Wilmer Flores played left field. This is how you just keep Juan Lagares. There's nothing wrong with Juan Lagares coming off the bench. He's a good pinch hitter. He's a good defensive replacement. There's no reason to be trotting Wilmer Flores up. Don't stop messing with guys. Don't put Jose Reyes out. Don't stop messing with these players. They're infielders. Leave them in the infield and let your outfielders play the outfield. Lagares is a fine player off the bench.
Yeah, there's no need to trade him. No need at all whatsoever.
There has been talks of platooning. So I really just went into the righty-lefty situations of these two guys to see if it was even worth it. Nimmo obviously does better against right-handed pitching. He hits 279 with a 382 on base. Lagares, on the other hand, 253 with a 290 on base. So Nimmo is clearly the better option facing right-handed pitching. When you look at left-handed pitching, it's not like Lagares is lighting up the scoreboard here, hitting 267 with a 314 on base. Now, Nimmo isn't hitting that well against left-handed pitching at a 204. But his on base, again, is 304. So he's only 10 points lower on base percentage than Lagares when he's hitting 267 versus 204. The guy's just a better option. Let him face left-handed pitching. Don't do the same thing you did to Conforto, where you just refuse to let your one of your all-stars face left-handed pitching.
I love that.
That was incredible.
I had Conforto on my fantasy team, and it was very frustrating. Speaking personally here, but I agree with that, John.
Exactly. Let the kid learn. You drafted this kid first rounder out of Wyoming for a reason. Let the kid learn how to face left-handed pitching, and let him lead off and play center field.
Nimmo batting what, 286 this spring? I believe I saw he was 12 for 42. A couple of home runs, 7 ribs.
You get pop out of that leadoff spot too.
Let him play. Let's see what he's got. Like I said, he's got a good eye, and I just think he's a better leadoff hitter than Lagares. Throw him out there. Throw him out there.
And it prevents the panic of eventually putting Conforto in the leadoff spot, which is one of the worst managerial moves I think I've ever seen.
I think the Mets brass likes Nimmo because at a time you had, again, maybe this is name value. He's not the player he once was, but you had a shot to get Andrew McCutchen.
True.
And they didn't want to trade Nimmo for McCutchen. And again, I don't know if he's over the hump, but throw him out there.
Exactly. Why hold him back from a McCutchen trade if you didn't want to use him?
Exactly.
So he basically he's got to be your guy, and Lagares is coming out. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good depth. There's nothing wrong with Lagares.
And then depth is what you need.
Yep.
So I don't know why you would ship Lagares away and have to call up Dendecker for his 0.91 batting average.
Hopefully they don't. So Yankees on the other hand, the outfield set, catcher's obviously set with Gary Sanchez. It really just comes to the basically third, second, and maybe a little insurance at first base for the Yankees.
They signed utility man Neil Walker the other day.
Yep.
And with that signing, the infield now is completely clogged up. They released Adam Lind and they released Espinoza the other day. So
no, he's a subpar 200 hitter anyway. So
it's cheap insurance.
It is.
So he's a switch hitter. So left hand plays better at the stadium. But that with the signing of Walker, that pretty much ensures that Torres and Andior are on the block. Now they announced the other day. The Yankees announced the other day that Torres will be starting in the minor leagues, AAA. I kind of agree with that. He's needs more seasoning, and to me, I don't think they deem him fully healthy. But I do like to see him up at some point because Absolutely. He is the phenom. So we'll see what he's about. So with this Neil Walker signing, I think he's going to play every day. He's an everyday second baseman for the New York Yankees.
He is, yep.
Yeah, Greg Bird at first, and what it comes down to at third now, Walker can play third, but it's going to be between Drury and Andior, with Tyler Wade in the mix as well. So, I listen. You fired Girardi for wanting to have a new voice for the young kids because this team was all about the young kids. And yes, there was probably things underneath, the surface that played out with Girardi and Cashman and the Steinbrenners that we don't know about. But ultimately, because they wanted a new direction for these young kids coming up. So you signed Adam Lind, you signed Danny Espinoza, you signed Neil Walker. Those are all, and you signed Brandon Drury. Those are all veterans.
It's fair. It's a fair call out.
And you push down Torres. Yes, he got hurt and he's not healthy again. But you push down Torres and you push down Andior. Andior is lighting up the scoreboard in spring training. Popping out dingers, ripping doubles. So, to me, why is Aaron Boone the voice of the young kids now?
The Yankees need it, yeah.
Just play the kids. Play the kids. Throw them into the fire.
I agree. I think Andior should get his spot at third base to see what the kid can do. 4 home runs in spring training is nice to see, especially in a team that's going to do nothing but hit home runs. 263 in spring. and I think you kind of know what you'll get in Drury.
Jory, I think
he's good insurance.
He's good. I don't know if he's an everyday player, but he's very serviceable.
He's serviceable.
He's a career 271.
Yep.
And that's almost 1,000 at bats. So he puts the ball in play. Last year with the Diamondbacks, 267, 13 home runs, 63 RBIs.
Yeah.
So they want the power get into his power tap into the stadium. See how that plays out in Yankee Stadium. They believe he's got more home run power, and
he could hit 18 to 20 there.
Maybe even more, maybe even a little more. Walker, same thing. He's typically the same player.
Yeah, very similar numbers.
265 in 2017, 14 home runs, 49 RBIs. I mean, you know Neil Walker very well.
Yep.
Former Met.
Yeah. What you're going to get out of Neil Walker, I mean...
He's got 130 career home runs.
Yeah, so you're going to get a 270 average, and you're going to get 15 home runs, maybe 20 at Yankee Stadium. What's nice about him is he strikes out usually less than 100 times a year. He plays second, a little bit of first, a little Greg Bird insurance, and he's seen third base before. So you got three positions that Neil Walker could fill. Neil Walker's not a flashy player. He's... He's just basically he's going to get in front of the ball.
He's a baseball player.
He's going to knock it down and he's going to flip it. So you're not going to get anything flashy out of Neil Walker, but he's going to get the job done.
It's exactly what you want.
Exactly.
Also, with the Drury signing and the Neil Walker signing, they're biding time for Torres and Andujar, but also maybe for the July deadline. Now you have more ammunition to get trade for a starting pitcher, so it covers yourself. But for me, I think you got to play the kid. Let Neil Walker play here and there, but it's Andujar's time. Let him play third.
Give him a shot. He came up for a cup of coffee last year, and he hit over 500 in a couple games.
Right,
so.
and then he took off this spring. He was batting 400 at one point.
He served his minor league time. Last year he split time between AA and AAA, and he pretty much the same throughout AA 312 and 67 games and AAA 317 and 58 games. Guy seems like he's ready to make the jump to the big leagues.
What I do think personally, what I think is going to happen. Now you got Greg Bird at first.
Yep.
He's
wild card.
He's a wild card. Exactly. It's a correct definition right there. He's got potential. He's got
great potential. He could be an all-star. I feel
his power stroke is very nice. So at the deadline, I think they'll keep Greg Bird at first, but if Torres is ready, I think one of Drury or Walker can be trade bait.
Could be
with a Justice Sheffield in the minors, with a Dylan Tate to obtain a starting pitcher. There's also Tyler Wade in the mix. I
feel the same way. I feel like you got better options out of Andujar and Drury, and then he's kind of a forgotten man.
Also, Tyler Austin, another forgotten man.
Yeah.
I believe he's going to make the team. He's also covers Bird at First Insurance. But I just don't know how I feel about not giving. Even if Andujar makes the team, what is he going to play? Once a week, twice a week, if that. It's not giving him a shot to take off and run it. Look, he's playing every day. He's playing every day in spring training, and he's lighting it up. So I don't know. It bothers me. So with this signing, also, there's going to be a lot of strikeouts. Maybe a lot of home runs, but also a lot of strikeouts in the lineup.
That's what usually comes with home runs.
So we'll see what happens.
What about fan favorite Ronald Torreyes?
Hey.
He did it 290 last year, playing in 100+ games. It kind of came out of nowhere.
Maybe I'm just biased with the toe, but the toe show and getting picked off in the Indian series. I don't know if I can get past that. But he's in the mix. He's good depth. He's good depth.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. He's good depth because you have plenty of better options.
He'll knock 280. He'll knock 290. Yeah. He'll smash a home run.
There's higher ceilings from the other guys, though. Is basically what it comes down to. But I agree about Gleyber Torres. The kid's only 21 years old.
Yeah, he's
don't rush him back. Don't rush him back. You signed a serviceable Neil Walker for a reason. Don't be rushing one of your potential future players here back.
Torres, he's still the future, and to me, I don't think he's fully healthy yet, which is why he's going to start in AAA.
Mm-hmm.
If he was healthy, I believe he would have been on the team starting, and with this signing of Neil Walker, that just, to me, he's not ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
But, so, almost, Thursday next week?
Thursday next week.
Opening day?
I'm ready.
Oh, I'm ready. I want to talk for a minute about Ken Singleton. He announced on Twitter last week that he's retiring after the season. So I just want to, give a little shout out to Kenny Boy and look out. I'll miss you. He's the Yankee voice with Kay and Sterling and Waldman, O'Neill, Jim Cott. Remember Jim Cott?
Been listening to
it won't be the same. 17 seasons as a Yankee analyst, and I'm looking forward to his last hurrah this season, and hopefully the Yankees can send him off with a little World Championship, and then sign off as "Look out, Kenny is gone" with a World Championship.
Yeah, you guys are gonna miss him.